Every single time in the Quran, Allah tells us, teaches us to make dua for our parents. He uses the word walidain. Rabbi ighfirli wa li walidayya. Walidain. Why? What's the significance? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, every single time He tells us to be good to our parents. Every single time He reminds us or teaches us to make dua for our parents. He says, make dua for your parents, be good to your parents, but a little bit extra, a little bit more for your mother. Two things I'll point out why. And the Prophet ﷺ, of course, summarized this, explained this rather practically in a scenario very well one time when he was asked by a Sahabi, Man ahabbu bi husni suhbati, who deserves my good companionship, my good treatment the most? He said, Ummak, your mother. He said, Thumma man, who's next? He said, Ummak, your mother. He said, Thumma man, who's next? And he said, Ummak, your mother. Then he said, Thumma man, who's fourth in line? And he said, Abak, your father. There's two things that I'll point out why. Number one, when our mothers did the most for us, this is talked about in Surah Luqman. وَوَصَيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ. That Allah said, be good to your parents, because the mother carried the child difficulty upon difficulty. She carried the child through difficulty upon difficulty. Pregnancy and labor and childbirth. وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ. And when the child is born, is the job over? Look at mom's side. Oh, she got no idea. Right? Mothers will tell you that's when the job actually begins. That's when it starts. For 2 years, a minimum of 2 years, the child is incapable of doing anything on his or her own. Sometimes longer. Right? Literally, the child depends on the mother for everything. She has to do everything for him. Clean, cook, clean, wash, feed, sleep, change, everything. Completely incapable. There's a lot of young folks here. Youngins, young people. You ever seen a baby? Seriously, I'm talking. You ever seen a baby? I'm not talking about your 5-year-old little brother. Not that type of a baby. Alright? I mean like a baby. Like a newborn baby. The next time you get a chance, you see a newborn baby, I want you to sit there and I want you to watch it for a little while. I want you to see that the baby can't even turn itself over. Forget about everything else. It can't even turn over. It can only do one thing. That's it. Which they do very well. All the baby can do is cry and scream. That's it. The mother does every single little thing for the child. Completely incapable. Mother does everything. For 2 years, a mother has to forego her own existence. It's like she doesn't even exist. It's like she doesn't even have a life. Everything in her life becomes dictated by this baby, by this child. Minimum of 2 years. But you know what the very interesting thing is? The part of our lives when our mothers did the most for us, carried us inside of them and gave birth to us and then took care of us as little infants and babies, we have no memory and no recollection of that. You remember being a baby? We have no memory of being a small baby, of what that was like. We have no recollection, no memory of that. And as we continue to get older, and we become more conscious and cognizant that we have memory retention, we start to become less and less dependent upon our mothers, because now we're independent. I go to the restroom myself. I feed myself. I clean up myself. I wash myself. We become less and less dependent upon our mothers, and we become more and more dependent upon our fathers. You know why? Because then our needs are not so much physical. I don't need anybody to clean me and feed me and clothe me. Now what I need is, that's right, dollar bill, right? Now what happens is, and that's what typically happens, right? So the first time you go to your mom, you're like, I need a cell phone. What does she say? That's right. That's your dad. When you come to her the first time, like, I need a car. I want my own car. What does she say? Go ask the big scary guy sitting in the corner. Go poke the bear. Mess with me all day long. Go check it out, see what happens. Right? Right? He just grunts at you. Now it's like, gee, sir, yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, sir, your chair, sir. That's very nice. But we have no recollection of what our mothers did for us. And so what starts happening? We take our mothers for granted. You seen that? Teenagers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She's annoying. She nags. She has no life. She has nothing better to do. She hates me. Right? We take our mothers for granted then. Because we don't remember when we couldn't even turn ourselves over. We have no memory, no recollection of that. So Allah emphasizes, thank your mothers, be good to your mothers, make dua for your mothers. Because the time in your life where you were just like a piece of like flesh. You couldn't do anything on your own. Your mothers literally gave up everything to take care of you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes their rights, reminds us of that. Number 2, and the way best I can describe this or explain this, mothers are the strangest of Allah's creation. Mothers are the most ajib makhluk. Alright? There's no logic to being a mom. There is no logic to being a mom. It's to the point where they don't care about themselves. They just completely live for their children. Just completely emotionally vested into their children. They could care less about themselves. You know, one experience kids, your parents ever tell you that when you become a parent, when you have kids, then you'll realize. Yeah, I know they do. Every parent tells their children that. They tell their kids that. You know what though? It's true. Sisters, when you become mothers, the younger ones, you'll exactly realize. But brothers, even you will realize when you have kids, because then you'll have an up-close seat. You'll have a front row seat to see what your wife does for your kids. And then you realize what it means to be a mother. Something we all realize when we have kids. You know, I always tell a personal story, like when we had our first child, and the first time our first kid got sick. Couldn't sleep. Crying, fussy, fever, couldn't sleep. My wife, not sleeping. Not moving from her side. A mother, even if you tell her, even if she's not well herself, I'm not moving from here. I can't leave right now. My child is not feeling well, I'm not going anywhere. Father, passed out. Sleeping on his face. Right? But a mother is just emotionally incapable. She just can't. You know, your mother is the only one who can cook your food and yell at you at the same time. Only a mom can do that. She'll cooking your food, yelling at you at the same time. You say, I want a sandwich. You'll get your sandwich. Right? She's cooking your food and she's mad at you. Like, try that with your dad. Next time he's mad at you, say, I'd like a sandwich. Right? I got one for you right here. Alright, so it's just, those are moms. You know, the youngins, a lot of young folks sitting at the back, ironically. Alright? Alright? But young folks, you know when sometimes very wrong, very inappropriate, you get kind of into an argument with your mom about something, kind of go back and forth with your mom, fight with your mom about something, and you stomp off to your room. Even though you weigh 100 pounds, it sounds like Vin Diesel is walking in the house, right? And you slam the door loud enough to like wake up the neighbors. The next morning when you come out of your room, before you come out of your room, right, you get in the mirror and you get your game face on, right? Right? You get your Kevin Garnett face on, like, hideous, right? Because you want her to know how angry you are. I will not be spoken to like this. I'm in charge of my life. So you come out ready to show her who's boss. Not going to make eye contact. Not going to directly speak to her. Going to have this angry face on. And I'm going to leave for school like that so she knows that she pissed me off. Right? And you come out of your room ready to like let her know what's up. And you only to come downstairs or come into the kitchen or the living room, and guess what's ready and waiting for you on the counter? Breakfast. Tough guy? Right? You came downstairs, you came out to show her who's boss, she made breakfast for you. Not only that, but what's packed and ready for you to take to school? Lunch. And she picked up your books that you left on the coffee table last night and put them in your bag for you and said, don't forget your bag. That's what being a mom is like. That's what moms are. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes the rights of the mom extra, because of this very unique nature of mothers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of our mothers.